when you produce a press release using a service like PR Web, that is getting syndicated by Google News and Yahoo and Bing and all these other search engines. And so you're also getting that digital exposure. And if you have a website, you want to reference your website in that press release. And even going a step further, if it's in the closing paragraph of your press release, if you could say, ABC concrete contractor in this town and city, and hyperlink that, link that up and point back to your website, then that can obviously aid in your search visibility as well.
Hey guys, Jeff Spencer here, Chris Work and Jeff Givens, and Jerry Work behind the scenes running the camera. All of us are partners in ProfitDig, and appreciate y'all tuning in to the ProfitDig radio show. Remember, check us out, hit the like button, or smash the like button as Hendrick says.
That's right.
And
share it with your friends if you find the content useful.
Yep, share it with your friends, all that good stuff.
Nothing else, they give you something to watch and listen to when you're bored.
What is that on the
what is this?
Get that little plastic bag.
That's my hairnet.
TV remote.
TV remote.
Let me get this out.
No, that's all right. Keep it close.
Take it for you.
Clear my thinking,
Yeah.
All right, guys, we started a topic a while ago, and we had a little excitement here at the office. So
yeah, not every day somebody gets stuck in an elevator.
No,
but it happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
So, what was our subject we was talking about?
So we were discussing different ways that a construction company might be able to market. How to get started in that. Because it's like everything else. If you don't even know what terms to search for or what things to look for, just having that knowledge is pretty useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's, in construction, you do still see a lot of traditional advertising that typically either really small local shops engage in or large organizations who are advertising during the Super Bowl or what have you. Not that that's a bad thing, but just in terms of, return on ad spend, I would start with some internal processes and tools. I recommend a CRM. You talk to people all the time. CRM, an application, customer retention manager, just Google CRM application. There's tons of them. I typically don't recommend services, but you know what? If you don't have anything, go to HubSpot. You can set up a free account with HubSpot, up to so many contacts. Your phone rings, you answer, you got their information, you're going to bid a job for them, whatever. If you're not going to bid a job for them, we can no longer maintain all this information on a notepad. You got to enter that into some sort of digital format, something that you can follow up on down the road, leave notes on. I get that process in place internally because these are the people you're marketing to. So, the idea is over time, as you collect more and more information from your customers, you'll start to identify some trends and things that, that you might utilize for targeting down the road. Beyond that, I say everyone, it's funny. I still know people in business that don't have websites, but it happens. If you do have a website, set up Google Analytics. That way you have a log of everyone who visits your website, and analytics is obviously collecting that information. And if you decide to use Google Ads in the future, search advertising, someone goes to Google and they're looking for a concrete contractor in my area, whatever, when those people visit your website, you're creating audiences that you can then segment and target, later on.
Special campaigns.
With special campaigns. Yeah, but you want to get that going now, because Google requires you to have so many well, people are cookies essentially, so you have to have so many cookies in an audience before you can advertise to it. So, yeah,
Well, let me ask you this, as far as understanding about the advertising, but say you got other, of course we deal with contractors, say you got other contractors or GCs that, sub out to people that do basically the same scope of work you do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't work for them. Mm-hmm. What are your best options as far as gaining access to getting bid invites or doing potential work with them if you don't currently do that work? As far as pinpointing or directing towards a specific.
Yeah. Well, and that's tough in construction because GCs aren't just throwing rocks and hoping to hit someone who's capable of putting a bid together for them. Right. They already have, we've discussed.
Built a team or whatever, yeah.
They have a team. They have a book of subcontractors that they go back to time.
But what if I want to be part of that team? How do I get in the door?
Well, I think that just part of climbing the ladder, building those relationships. I mean,
more like a PR like type thing. Or?
Yeah, I mean, well, a little bit of that, absolutely. When you complete a job, something that's kind of underutilized in the service industry is PR, press releases. Mm-hmm. You see it all the time now, still in service industries, the tech industry, every industry. You don't see a press release on this company just wrapped up, so-and-so job, and now it's going to allow us to do this or that, whatever. There's lots of press-worthy opportunities in their line of work, but you don't see companies utilizing that. And that's kind of twofold. I mean, that obviously it can get you, legwork involved. If you want that actually going into print, you either have to, retain someone, a consultant who already has those relationships that can get you into printed form, or if you're in a small town, call your local newspaper and say, hey, ask that you would print this. It's because there's a story behind it. You're doing something good for the community, or it's going to save people travel time because now they can go this direction versus this direction, whatever it may be. That's obviously a key element, and that also overlaps into the digital world. Google, Yahoo still exists, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of people still use it.
Yeah, a lot of people still use it. Or Bing. I mean, Google's about 85% of the market share. So anyway, when you produce a press release using a service like PR Web, that is getting syndicated by Google News and Yahoo and Bing and all these other search engines. And so you're also getting that digital exposure. And if you have a website, you want to reference your website in that press release. And even going a step further, if it's in the closing paragraph of your press release, if you could say, ABC concrete contractor in this town and city, and hyperlink that, link that up and point back to your website, then that can obviously aid in your search visibility as well.
You also fit all that stuff into your social media profiles and stuff.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
But I guess the PR I'm talking about is like personal relations. As far as, is it worthy to reach out to a contractor or GC that you don't normally work for and find their marketing or their project managers and have a one-on-one, take them out to lunch or...
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, and that, the relationship building.
Yeah.
Which that's in any industry, but I think it's especially important in this industry.
Yeah, right. I agree. But like if you're not on a national level, you're more of a local market, and there's like here in Nashville, we've got multiple GCs out there that we don't do work for that are potential customers. I guess that's my question. What are the best resources for me? Because as far as like web advertising, stuff of that nature, it's like a hit or miss whether they see us or not, but we're a local contractor. We're right here at their disposal. How do we get into the door, with these contractors? What's our best, approach to making an initial recognition, you know, like, hey, I can perform your work for you and do quality work and do it at a reasonable price.
Sure, yeah. Well, like you said, I mean, you're either going to pick up the phone and try to call this person, or a lot of times you can find their email address because it's available on their website. Social, LinkedIn is a powerful platform in any B2B environment, you know, and subscribe to the professional version, you know, so that way you can direct message people, you know, and reach out that way. And I like that soft approach too, because then it enables someone to respond when convenient for them.
Yeah.
And I think too, you know, you want to see people reaching out to you that are motivated individuals, especially if they've got some type of, you mentioned press releases, but just having a website with referrals on it, you know, and if it's you know, local companies, they'll know who those companies are, so they can reach out, you know, regardless of what you say. If you're claiming, you know, we had a successful job for this company here, it'd be easy for them to call that person and say, hey, you know, Chris Work's calling me saying he's going to do a fantastic job on this next job I got coming up. What do you think about him? How'd that go with him? You know?
Well, is it, you know, I don't know if it's important or not, but is it important, like, to have a portfolio put together, like previous projects and like recommendations from other contractors?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know, and you would know more about this than I would, but it's not uncommon, you know, in any industry I've been involved in, for someone to ask for referrals. You know, they want to speak to other clients that you've worked for. So I would assume that that's similar in this line of work.
Yeah, I think it is, but, you know, I believe, you know, a lot of the contractors we work for currently, everyone is in a booming market right now here in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
So to get them to take time to write a referral, I mean, it's going to be hard pressed, I would think, you know, just because everyone's so busy, everybody's pushing the 11th hour, you know, to try to get stuff done, and you know, I don't know what the approach would be to an existing customer. You know, how would you approach them? You know, I mean, it's like, at your earliest convenience, could you possibly, or, you know, how would you approach that? Or
yeah, I mean, I guess, but you got me thinking about something else. I totally didn't answer your question. That was just,
that's fine.
That was messed up.
Drink another one, Chris.
No, yeah, I mean, absolutely, yes. I mean, well, I think that's just the other thing. Respect someone's time.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to be a nuisance. You know, that's the last thing you want. You're not going to get anywhere.
And I know, just like, you know, talking about being a nuisance, I know in my line of work, you know, I get people calling, you know, wanting business from me, and it gets to the point where it's almost obnoxious, you know, with the amount of phone calls, the amount of emails I get, and it gets to the point where I don't even want to deal with this person.
Yeah.
Well, take the example where you just finished some work with someone, and maybe you had an email exchange or you had a phone call, and they said something complimentary to you, either in the email or the phone call. I think it's a lot less work to take that situation and follow up with that person and say, hey, I really appreciate you saying that. Would you have any problem if I could send this, you know, to my boss, or, you know, let him know what you said? You know, it's like, not necessarily saying I want to make myself look great, but you know, it is good to show that people do appreciate the work that you do. And in the case of referrals, you could easily just say, hey, would you have any problem with us using this? I'm not saying we're going to, but would you have any problem if I sent this over to our PR team, say, hey, here's an example of where we did a great job, and without bothering them, they did it on their own accord and agreed to the fact that it's okay if we use that. They're proud of the work we did, and they don't mind if we take that.
No, absolutely. Well, and you're going to hear from 10% of your happy customers and 90% of your dissatisfied customers. You know, so.
And there's something to learn from both of those situations.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But, you know, and kind of changing things around a little bit, you know, but there's going to be times, like, you know, when you're in a position to where you're on this specific project, you have issues that come up. How important is it to keep building on a relationship to be able to go into negotiations or to be willing to, how much are you willing to give, to make those things work out? I guess, say it's something that's going to cost you a little bit of money, but in the long run could make you money in the long term. Hey, I'm going to give in, and do this for you to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, by doing that, you're building a long-lasting relationship with this individual or this company. That, hey, I know this guy here. He's not going to nickel and dime me to death. He's willing to help me out and get this project to the end. But you've also got to be able to have a fine line. You got to know when, like, hey, I've helped you. I've done what I can do. At this point, further, I want to continue to do business with you, but I've got to be able to make money too. I can't put myself in a hole to pull you out of a bad situation.
Yeah, no, and I think it's okay to do that occasionally, especially if it's a newer contractor that you're in the process of developing that relationship with. Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah,
you're willing to take a compromise to build that relationship.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And I think also you can, highlight some of your superlatives. One of the things we talk about is coming in ahead of time, ahead of schedules, jobs delivered under budget, on time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any issue with throwing out stats to somebody that
not at all.
Hey, last year, throughout the entire year, we came in, we finished all our jobs ahead of time. We came in 10% under our predicted budget. No unnecessary change orders, no delays. You can make yourself look good without seeming obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, you can. I mean, mobile phone companies tout their, how large their network is, but they don't tell you how much of it actually works really well. you know? So, whereas in this line of work, it's that level of transparency is pretty big. So, there's no, there's nothing to hide. We either moved a lot of dirt or installed a lot of pipe. There's a functioning utility system that has been inspected.
Yeah, if it's not working, it's going to be pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty obvious. Yeah. So, well, it's a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's a good chat.
We appreciate the expertise, Chris.
I really didn't do any talking. You guys pretty much just shared all of your knowledge as always. So that's
really good. I just liked asking you questions.
Yeah.
It's good to be on the other end of the spectrum for a little while.
Okay. I get it. Well, appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Guys, appreciate you joining us. Visit us at ProfitDig.com, and we hope to see you again at the ProfitDig Radio Show. Take care.
Thank y'all.